What's up guys, welcome to another video. We're now in a car that I've been wanting to drive for a while, never really got the chance to test drive one before. So this is Leonard here, and this is his 2013 Nissan 370Z. And it's the base model with the sport package, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so tell me about your car.
I've had it for about 4 months now. Bought it because I was kind of missing rear wheel drive. I had a Fiesta ST that I had for a couple years. Before that, I had a Mazda RX-8, did a lot of autocross with that car, so I was missing the rear wheel drive, so I bought this to kind of fill in that gap. I do track the car. I've been to Laguna Seca, Thunderhill East and West course.
Just out of curiosity, what did you run at Laguna Seca?
Like low 150s.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and then in the Fiesta, I think I was running like mid 150s. I think I ran like a 154 in the Fiesta ST.
Not bad for a front wheel drive.
Yeah, I do have a few modifications to make it a little more track oriented. I added the Z1 34-row oil cooler because if you don't have an oil cooler, it will overheat after like 3 hot laps. Otherwise, it's mostly stock, just bolt-ons. I have the ARC grip catback exhaust and then stock intakes. And then I recently added BC coilovers. They're kind of budget oriented, but they're pretty good. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the ride quality, and when you kind of tune the adjustability for different tracks, it does actually help you dial in understeer and oversteer.
Okay.
It helps you change the balance of the car a little bit.
So it's got the VQ37.
Yeah.
Is that VHR? VHR. Okay. Does that stand for very high revving or?
I don't know what the V stands for, but okay. HR is high rev. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a 3.7 liter naturally aspirated dual overhead cam. It's got Nissan's VVL technology, right?
VVEL. It's variable valve event and lift. I think it stands for.
Makes about 332
yeah.
horsepower and 269 foot-pounds of torque.
Yep.
And the car weighs what, a little under 3,300 pounds?
Yeah, it's about 3,290.
Okay.
Wet.
So the power to weight is actually pretty close to the Lotus Elise I just drove yesterday, but that having 190 horsepower, it's pretty ridiculous that the power to weight's the same.
Yeah.
So this should be a fun one. Alright, so first impressions driving this car around slowly. Really easy to drive. It does feel like a newer car. Obviously being a 2013, it's only a few years old. The interior refinement is kind of typical Japanese car. The plastics are not exactly the best quality, but in terms of the ride comfort, it's really not bad at all. I'm surprised considering you have relatively cheap budget coilovers.
Right.
So far it's not bouncing or anything. It's pretty good. It soaks up the bumps. The steering being hydraulic does give you a load of feedback, and that's one thing I'm very pleasantly surprised by. Since the car is a bit on the heavier side at 3,300 pounds or so, I did expect the steering feel to be a bit numb, but it's actually quite good.
Yeah, it's pretty direct. It feels nice. And it kind of increases in directness as you increase speed.
The pedal layout's also perfect for heel and toe, as I try not to run over this little squirrel. The clutch, as you said earlier, it is kind of lacking feel in terms of the engagement point, but in terms of the way it engages, it's very, very smooth. No issues at all there. The shifter is definitely on the notchy side. It does require effort. It doesn't seem like it likes to be hurried, especially like from the first to second gear shift.
Yeah, I like to just kind of let the synchros line up and ease it into the next gear.
Other than that, it's very easy to shift, and you'd be hard pressed to miss a gear, I think, in this thing.
Yeah.
This makes peak power at like 7,000 revs.
Yeah,
right?
almost near red line.
What is the red line of this?
Red line's at 7,500 RPM.
Okay.
And the fuel cutoff is literally right there, maybe 100 RPM higher than that.
Okay. That's a pretty impressive red line for a big, burly V6 like this. So back when you bought this car, what other cars were you considering?
It was almost kind of an impulse thing. I was just looking for something Japanese, rear-wheel drive. Kind of looking to fill that void, like I said, that the RX-8 left. I missed kind of that precision handling, but I wanted something with maybe a little more torque.
Yeah.
Because the Fiesta kind of spoiled me. I had that tweaked up with cob parts and in a E30 tune, so I wanted something a little torquier. I test drove 370Z when they first came out in like late 08, early 09. And at the time, I honestly didn't like it, but I decided to test drive one again back when I bought this, and I drove this car, and I ended up buying it. So
okay, yeah, I mean, second impressions can always have a big difference on you. Like this
right.
couple with that dog, I've seen them literally 3 times in a row now while filming these videos.
They're saying the same thing about you right now. There goes that weird guy.
There's that weird guy who drives weird cars. In terms of the comfort, it's great. The seat is very supportive. It's got really good bolstering. You know, I really like the fact that it's cloth and not leather.
Yeah, I really dislike leather seats for any kind of performance driving.
Yeah, you slide around a little bit more, and then it's easily affected by temperature. So what do you have for tires and brakes on here?
So the brakes, it's the sport package, so it has the upgraded Nissan Akabono brakes. Right now for the street, I just have OEM pads and rotors, and then on the track, I use Carbotech XP8 pads. For tires, I'm using Bridgestone RE11s. They're 200 tread wear, so they're pretty sticky, and they have a nice stiff sidewall, so there's good feedback.
What sizes are you running?
The front is 265 30R19. The rear is 285 30R19.
Oh, okay, so pretty meaty tires. What was the stock setup on this thing?
The stock setup was 245 275, which was it caused quite a bit of understeer. The reason why I went with such a fat rear tire is to kind of compensate for the lackluster viscous LSD.
All right, these came with a viscous LSD.
Yeah.
Only if you had the sport package, right?
Only if you have the sport package, yeah. So once that gets up past a certain temperature, it's basically just an open diff.
Okay.
It's one tire fire on track, so the tires kind of help compensate for that a little bit.
And I know this car has the Synchro Rev Match feature, but I'm going to leave that off because I just like doing it myself. All right, so let's give it a little more juice and see how it does. Feel that diff working?
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm very surprised. Being 3,300 pounds and kind of having like that kind of fat, wide body style, I expect it to be a bit of a boat in the corners, but it changes direction pretty well.
It really does. I mean, I will say you definitely feel the weight. You feel the inertia when you're trying to corner it, especially in the back-to-back switchbacks.
The coilovers helped a lot in that respect because on the OEM suspension, even with the sport package setup, you could really feel the weight kind of being tossed around.
I imagine the weight transfer with the stock suspension is even more dramatic with the body roll.
It was pretty drastic, especially on track. It was kind of frightening.
These coilovers, I mean, I thought they were
nice.
Absolute garbage because I've tried these, the BCBR, I think, coilovers in the 9th Gen Civic SI, and they were just so bouncy, but I think it probably comes down to just the adjustment.
Yeah, the reason I went with these is because my good buddy, he had a Fiesta ST, but he recently sold his too. He upgraded to a Golf R, but he had the BCs on his Fiesta, and they were just so impressive on that car. So I decided to give him a shot with this because they're relatively cheap.
Were they like $1,000?
Yeah, they were just under $1,000. And guys that were using the KW V3s for high performance driving events and autocross were actually selling them for the BC so they could get a stiffer spring rate.
Really?
Yeah, for this car. So the BC application on this car is
it's really good. The reason that I feel very confident driving it quickly is because everything about it is very progressive. So you feel exactly what the front tires are doing through the steering. The hydraulic steering feels really, really good. And the front to rear grip balance is really on point. Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised. I never had the best impression of 370s or 350s for that matter. They're more like, I mean, I know it's not a luxury car, but that's kind of more like where it was targeted towards. Like it was more of a Mustang or
Camaro. It's kind of like a Japanese muscle car.
Yeah, exactly. But
my friend that has a Corvette, when he drove this for the first time, he's like, it's basically a Corvette with less power. That's kind of what it feels like.
It makes no excuses for the weight, and I think that's the most important thing to realize if you're looking into buying one of these cars for like track use or canyon carving, is that you will feel the weight. It does not feel like an S2000 or a BRZ or anything in that segment. However, the handling is just really, really predictable, and I think that's what it makes this car almost like as easy or easier to drive quickly compared to like the BRZ or the S2000. But like you said earlier, the engine just doesn't sound very good from inside, which is surprising because with your exhaust on the outside, it does really sound nice. I think the VQ series of engines, like the 35 and the 37, probably have the most distinctive engine sound that I've ever heard. I mean, exhaust sound that I've ever heard. Whenever I hear one from outside when I'm just driving around, I instantly know like that's going to be.
You immediately know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I instantly know what it is. The only thing I might be able to get it confused with is like a VR6 from a Volkswagen, but even that has like a little bit more of a burble to it.
It has a different firing order.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. You can try the synchro rev match if you want.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
That
let's
works.
try that. Just turn this on.
Yeah, just hit that until the S comes on there. It's like
Okay.
perfect. It's seamless.
I feel like I'm cheating.
Yep. Feels pretty nice once you get the hang of it, because it's weird because you don't really quite want to let out the clutch as soon as you can.
Yeah. Oh man, that is a smoother downshift than I could ever achieve on my own. I could definitely see myself using this if I was driving this in traffic.
Yeah, like daily use, like for commuting, I leave it on, but when I feel like practicing heel towing and rev matching,
Yeah.
I turn it off to try to master it.
One thing about this car I'm not too thrilled about is the visibility. I mean, I know that's a common issue, but the rear windshield it looks like about an inch tall in the mirror. But even the sides, they're pretty high up, and you have pretty big blind spots back here as well.
Yeah, behind like the 3/4 views, and then it's really hard to place the front tires of the car. That's one thing I kind of miss about the RX-8 and
Yeah.
the Fiesta. It's really easy to place where the front two tires are on track or autocrossing.
I think the gearing is somewhat long in this thing, right?
It's pretty tall gearing, yeah. Second gear winds out to, it touches 70 miles an hour, almost 70, and then third gear touches 95.
Okay, that is pretty tall
It's
gearing.
pretty tall. It's not quite as tall as your NSX, but it's still
Not
pretty
that
tall
tall.
for...
Yeah. Personally, I like having to shift up and down even if it's unnecessary. But like this car, you can just keep it in second gear, and you have torque throughout the rev range, so you don't have to worry about the gearing being a little too long.
Right.
What are your future plans for this car? Do you want to just keep it the way it is?
We'll probably do seats next. Like I said, I really like the Recaro Sportster seats. I think they're putting those in the new Focus RS version
Are they?
of those. Yeah. So it's a really nice seat. They're really comfortable. I just really dislike the seating position in the Focus. I'll probably end up doing some sort of mechanical LSD down the road.
Okay.
Just because the viscous LSD is really lackluster on track. It kind of takes away the enjoyment. There goes a squirrel.
Yep, there's that dead squirrel. Like you said before, this does not need a supercharger.
No, I looked into that when I first got it because I was all about speed. Like, yeah, I want 500 horsepower or whatever, but it would take away the trackability of it. It would take away the usable power where you can just go full throttle everywhere. That's what I like about this car.
Even though this does have quite a bit of power, like 332 horsepower, you really can go full throttle, like you said, pretty much everywhere. Even on this road, I expected myself to be partial throttle more often than I was. What kind of MPGs do you get in this thing?
It gets terrible fuel economy. It's horrible. Yeah, it's EPA rated at like 26 highway, but I can't set with the cruise set on like 60, 65. I can't get over 24.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's pretty atrocious.
That's really bad. So thanks again, Leonard, for letting me drive your 370Z.
Thank you.
Pleasantly surprised. I never had the highest opinion of these things, but after driving one in the canyons, I can really tell that it is exactly what Nissan, meant this to be, which is a Japanese muscle car. And I hope Nissan does make a new one of these relatively soon. I think this one having been out since 2009, and
it's due for an upgrade.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would argue between the 350Z and this car, it's not a huge difference. They're pretty much the same formula, just with everything up the level.
Yeah, everything was just kind of tweaked slightly. They chopped a little off the wheelbase, a little more power.
I would love to see them make like another 300ZX, like you said earlier, with like the twin turbo engine.
With the new engine.
That'd be a lot of fun. Just keep the stick shift, for God's sake. Please keep the stick shift.
Hydraulic steering.
And the hydraulic steering. I mean, even if you go electric steering, keep the stick shift.
Don't do like the drive-by, or the steering by wire.
Well, if they do the infinity thing, the full electric steering, then no, absolutely not. But thanks guys for watching my video. If you liked it, please comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.